Yo guys, welcome back to the MotorOgre channel. So today this is just going to be a short little catch-up video explaining a couple of little bits that we've been doing over the past month or two basically, and preparing for the sort of first proper car meet of the year that we're going to, or second proper car meet of the year we're going to, which is going to be with the JDM Midnight Run this weekend. This Saturday is when we're going, so just filled up the car with some fuel, and we are basically going to be getting the car washed, giving it a little wash, making it a little bit nicer to look at, and just making sure we're set to go for the weekend. So over the past month or two, since the last video has been out, we've done a few bits to the car. We had a bit of an accident where the fan belt actually snapped while I was driving, so the temperature gauge started creeping up, which was the first sign I thought that there was an issue. So as soon as the temperature gauge started shooting up, pulled over, got out of the car, had a look under the bonnet, saw that the belt was currently wrapped around the fan, and I thought, that's not where that's supposed to be. So obviously I had to limp the car back home, let it cool down a little bit, and then we drove it a little short distance. Ended up parking it outside my auntie's house for the night and driving up to Auto Extreme Parts, which is where we got all the parts from before, with the head rebuild and everything like that. Went up and saw him at 2 o'clock in the morning, bless him. Wayne is a top man. Went up 2 o'clock in the morning, picked up the fan belt, and the other belts as well. We replaced all 3 auxiliary belts and basically did that on the side of the road outside my auntie's house. I got that done by myself, but I still had a belt squeal because basically I didn't tighten it enough. So a good friend of mine, Marcus, managed to help me out there, and he managed to tighten it up, and it's now resolved the belt squeal issue. So, which is nice, because I thought we might have to change a tensioner or something on those lines, but we didn't in the end. So after that, the car basically was just driven every now and then, not really done anything to it for a little while, saved up some money, and then I finally managed to get the strut tops done, which is a massive part of this project, a massive part of the build that needed doing, because it was the worst part of the car. So when we got that done, a guy that I know called Joe, who works at a place called Bower Place, Bower Lane Tyres, sorry, not Bower Place. So Bower Lane Tyres is literally right around the corner from mine, and Joe, he's a lovely fellow, he's the welder that works there, has done a lot of work on previous cars of mine. So I went round and saw him, and obviously asked him for a quote. He said that he could do it. We came to an agreement on price, and then we got to work. So instead of actually cutting out the rust properly like we should have done, what we did is we basically took a shortcut that was going to allow me to do it in my budget and get it done this year, instead of having to save up and basically get nothing done to the car this year other than the strut top. So we've done it cheaply. We haven't done it properly. However, it is definitely going to have added years to the life of the car, which will give me time to get to a position where I can potentially get it done properly in the future. But what we did is we sanded back some of the rust. We then sprayed a bunch of rust converter, put loads of rust converter all over it, and then we welded the strengthening panels over the top, which I believe the panels that we used might have been meant to have been actually used as replacement panels, but they were very thin. So me and Joe the welder, we both kind of came to an agreement that they were probably strengthening panels, so that's what we did with them. Welded them on top, and then we painted them. Painted them white. It's not the right white, I know it's going to annoy some people, but for now it's good enough. I basically spent a couple of days repainting it, sanding it down, repainting it, got it to the part where I think it looks the best that I can get it. I also took the battery tray out and sanded down all underneath the battery tray and sprayed that all up with rust converter as well, because that was quite rusty underneath there. And when I take the front bumper off over the next couple of weeks, I'm planning on spraying all the crash bar and everything like that as well, because all of that is starting to get a bit rusty. So after we got the strut tops done, that put me in a frame of mind where I was like, right, I want to get to work on this car, let's get some bits. So what we did is we went out and we got a J-pipe. We had a J-pipe on the car obviously, but we had an aftermarket dump valve and an aftermarket J-pipe. So it had a dump valve noise, like a chew sort of noise. I wanted turbo flutters because I don't like seeing my turbo last very long. Obviously not, I just like the noise. So what we did is we got a stock J-pipe and we put a blank off plate for where the recirculation valve would have been. That obviously gave us the flutter noises, but because we didn't have an induction kit and because we didn't have a front mount intercooler or a metal intake pipe, there was not very much noise at all, and it was very quiet, I think, but it was just really quiet on the flutters. So what we did is I decided that I needed to get an induction kit. I found a HKS induction kit being sold on eBay, threw a really low offer in, and the bloke accepted it and posted it down to me, so I managed to get that. I also bought a throttle body off the same guy because I was planning on, you know, getting a forward-facing intake, and I didn't know what route I was going to. So I bought a throttle body off of an R33 Spec 2 GTS-T at the same time, which I don't think I'm going to be using now, but at least I've got it in case I need it. So we picked that up from the same guy, bought a new sponge filter for the induction kit because the old one was absolutely filthy inside and out. Luckily my mate Wayne that lives over the road from me, who's got an absolutely lovely Subaru STI, basically sold me the sponge filter replacement for a very low price, which is, you know, top man, and it means I didn't have to wait for it to be posted. Threw all that on, gave it all a bit of a cleaned it up, made it look a little bit nicer, put that on the car, and now that's sort of given us a bit more of an induction noise, and you can hear it actually pulling the air in now, which is quite cool. Obviously having a stock airbox and then going to any sort of induction kit, you're going to get a complete change of noise from the car. I personally think it sounds really cool now, so that's a lot better. The next job was obviously picking up a front mounted intercooler, which again, searching on eBay, I managed to find one for a very low price. So I offered him an even lower price, to which he said yes, because it didn't have all the hoses that it needed. So at this point, what we did is basically bought the front mounted intercooler, and I spoke to a friend of mine called Josh, who's got a Gen 1 Stagea, and he lives about 150 miles away, but I am going to be seeing him at Japfest at Silverstone next weekend, or not next weekend, the weekend after, I believe, from this point. So he was speaking to me, he was kind of guiding me through what induction kit to get, and all this sort of stuff, what front mount intercoolers will fit and stuff like that. And we was talking about cars, obviously both being absolute Stagea nuts. We both have a heavy passion for what we want to do to the cars. And he's just fitted a forward-facing intake to his and had all his engine bay painted and everything like that, and it looks absolutely lovely. So it's given me some good motivation to go ahead and kind of push myself to get cracking with the car and get new bits ordered and stuff like that. So picked up the front-mounted intercooler, and then he said, out of nowhere, he said, I've got a set of yellow hoses. Obviously yellow is not the colour that I want them, but they are at least something I can put on the car so that it will be on the car and working. And he said he's got a set of yellow hoses in his garage because he's just replaced his for blue hoses. And he sent them down to me completely for free. And he also sent me the blank off plate for the induction kit as well, which I forgot to add. But yeah, he sent them down to me for free, and he's an absolute top guy, and looking forward to meeting him properly. But yeah, after that, we decided not to fit the front mounted intercooler just yet, because the plan was always to get a forward facing intake, and there's no point in getting a forward facing intake and already having a front mounted intercooler fitted, because you're just going to have to cut the wires up again and do the whole job over again. So we decided to wait on the front mounted intercooler until we picked up the forward facing intake and then go from there. So the next port of call was obviously to try and find a forward-facing intake. I know that the wheels need a refurb, I know that there's rust on the rear arches, I know there's rust under the wing mirrors, I know there's rust under the side skirts. All of that was postponed because shiny race car parts are a lot more fun to buy and a lot more fun to spend your money on. So I had a look online, I spoke to Wayne from MotorOgre, and I was looking at different like inlet manifolds and trying to find which one was going to be the best option. Wayne from MotorOgre was kind of guiding me along the way, as well as obviously speaking to Josh and another one of my friends called Alan, who fitted the hybrid turbo on my old Stagea. And between all of the people I was speaking to, basically I decided that I was going to go with a brand new one instead of getting the original stock one modified. Basically, the RB25 DT Neo only has a couple of options that you can use for an inlet manifold, and they're really hard to find, and one that actually fits. So I'm really hoping the one that I've got now fits. Spoiler alert, we got one. So we searched far and wide, couldn't find any used ones for sale anywhere, couldn't find any cheap ones that were definitely going to fit either. So it was going to be along the lines of either getting a Greddy one or getting a plasma man one. Wayne said that he could get hold of a plasma man one through AutoExtreme, but it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks for it to arrive. I'm an impatient bastard, so I decided to see if I could find another one. Posted up on the R34 GTT owners group, because I know that all R34 GTTs came with the Neo, I believe. So I posted up on that group and basically asked if anyone had a forward-facing intake for sale. I don't own an R34 GTT, might get kicked off the page now, who knows, hopefully not. So yeah, basically asked the question, and someone came back to me after a couple of days and said they've got one in their garage that they bought back in 2018 when their R34 went off the road, and they're not using it, and basically he could sell it and the money can go towards putting his R34 back on the road. So I had a look at it, and it was an Otaku inlet manifold, which is a company that went out of business in 2023, and they were based in Australia and Japan, I believe. So obviously, being Australian based, it's a company that's not in the UK. There was only a limited amount of research I can do. Now, having spoke to Wayne from MotorOgre since, he has said that they're made in China, and that some of the welds do split, or have been known to split in the past. I couldn't find anything online to support that, but at the same time I'm not disbelieving it, because I couldn't find very much online at all. So it was one of those where I kind of had to, you know, make a decision and decide where to go with it. I was speaking to Josh, and I was speaking to my friend Alan as well, and basically they both said, if you get it and the weld split after a while, at least you've had it for a period of time, and then you know that it's not any good. Whereas if you don't give it a try, you might be spending a load of extra money to get a plasma man one or a Grady one for no reason. So at the end of the day, I went with, again, what's in the budget, what we can do. With project cars, as most people know, you get what you can afford at the time, and obviously you learn from your mistakes. This might be a mistake, but who knows, it might be the best decision we made so far. So we drove all the way up to Lincolnshire, which was a 3-hour drive there and a 3-hour drive back in the Skoda Octavia, in the taxi obviously, averaging about 65 miles per gallon, which is really good nowadays, especially with fuel prices the way they are. They're fucking ridiculous, excuse language. So yeah, we drove up, we bought the inlet manifold, and the throttle body and fuel rail also came with it, and it came with all the hoses and everything like that we're going to need. So that was £850 plus the fuel. It's basically 900 quid is what that cost me. So I should really say the front mount intercooler cost me 40 quid, and the induction kit I believe cost me 50, and the throttle body from the Spec 2 GTST R33 was going to cost me 40 quid as well, but obviously I think I'm just going to resell that now. So after picking up the inlet manifold, I've done some research and found a couple of videos on YouTube of other people that have done it. So I think me and my friend Marcus are probably going to give it a go after the midnight run on this Saturday. We're going to take the car apart and give it a go, try and get it on the car before Japfest at Silverstone, which is on the 17th of April. So fingers crossed we can get it done. Fingers crossed we've got all the bits that we need, and fingers crossed it actually fits, because obviously you don't know until you start doing it. But overall, we've had some very good progress that's been happening with the car lately. I also managed to get the Night Ride steering wheel on, which obviously you'll see some interior videos and shots inside the car, which you'll see the lovely steering wheel is now back on the car, and it's genuinely so much nicer than the original steering wheel. I can't say enough. It's, you know, the original steering wheels on these cars and the R33s, they're nice enough, but they are quite big and bulky, whereas having something a little bit smaller that you can kind of chuck around a little bit more is definitely more fun and a lot nicer to look at. So yeah, we are getting there slowly. The car's sort of making some headway now. After we get the forward facing intake and the front mounted intercooler fitted over the next couple of weeks, I think the next thing is just going to be saving up to get some of that rust done. So this is just an update for now. As I say, this is probably going to be quite a short video, and the quality of this video is not, you know, to the standard we're going to be trying to aim for in future. But unfortunately, if you guys wanted a video of the midnight run on Saturday, I had to get an update out before then. So we are going to be filming as we go out on the midnight run on Saturday, and hopefully that video will be coming up as soon as we possibly can. But yeah, for now guys, just, you know, check out the other videos. If you want to see the build of the Stagea from the last video, you can check that out, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon.